Narayana 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Namo Namah Sadgurubhyaha. Repeat. Namo
Namo
Namah Sadgurubhyaha.
Sadgurubhyaha.
Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha.
Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha.
Namo Namah Sadgurubhyaha.
Namo
Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha. Sadgurubhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Rameti Krishneti Nama Sankirtanam Sada Lokakshemaya Kurvantam Premikam Sadgurum Bhaje. Namaste. Nice to see you all again. Sorry that yesterday we couldn't continue. Now I think we sorted out, we detected the defect, the problem. It is somewhere with the screen share. In fact, often I would say instead of presenting a PowerPoint presentation, it is better to present some powerful points. So I was trying to do a PowerPoint presentation. The screen share was a problem that was giving the echo sound and all. So then I decided not to give the PowerPoint, but to give powerful points. The first day we tried to understand what Bhakti is. It is not any external paraphernalia, the ritualistic religious worships. It is not just going to temple or having the religious marks, nor doing the external puja, but it is that emotion of the divine love, that selfless love, which is the most important emotion, that which we connect to the divinity. Sa tasmin parama prema rupa, as defined by Narada. We understood that there is an amount of that selfish desire or attachment in each and everything that we do. Even if you have come for this class, is there not an expectation that is there? What is that I can learn from this session from Subbu Bhaiya? Some expectation with which we come. With some expectation that we transact, we do everything. I was telling the other day that even with God, the worshipping that we do, the temples that which are popular, if you see, it's because of some benefit which people are getting the more. In Tamil Nadu, we have a passport Pillayar. There's a place called Pillayarpatti. Pillayarpatti is a very famous, the temple itself is huge, and then the Murti of the Vinayagar is huge. Pillayar means Vinayaka, Ganesha in Tamil. So the temple, there's a huge temple, even the main deity in the main temple, huge, gigantic Vinayaka. But you won't see much crowd there. Where is the crowd then? Under a small tree outside the temple, a small people tree, a small Ganesha is sitting there, and there's a big queue, and people go around him like this and that. Why is it so? Because the Pillayar is called passport Pillayar. Okay, he had given the passport. Even passport getting, those days people thought is difficult. Even now, I have my own doctor friend in Bangalore. To just finish the police verification, it is taking more than 2 months. I don't know why it is like that. It so happens just like that in India and Bangalore. For this particular doctor friend, in fact, he is well known to most of you also. I don't want to name him. It's getting recorded, and perhaps it will be in the YouTube. He will also, I don't know, he might be in this class also. I don't know. But for him to even to get that passport verification, the police verification, it's in Hoskote police station. It's getting 2 months delayed. Why? I don't know. I suggested him, go to Patti, and then make Pradakshinam and come. You might get, I don't know. Now, passport giving is this Pillayar's job. That's it. You ask visa, he says, no, that is not my department. You have Visa Venkateshwara in Hyderabad. What is the place called? Near Bairagi Gudda. You will not be able to unmute yourself. I have locked you. Don't worry. I think everyone got that Visa Venkateshwara. Chilukur Balaji is where you go, and then you make a deal with him, and then he sends you abroad. The visa comes. So before the visa comes, he is very simple, not big expectation. Before the visa comes, you have to the deal is only 11 Pradakshina. But after visa getting sanctioned, and then you have your ticket book, before you leave, do 108 Pradakshina as a Kritagyata, gratitude. So we look at Bhagavan as a problem-solving mechanism. This is what Sri Krishna classifies the first kind of devotees as Artha. Sankata Bandaga Venkataramana. I told you the other day how my own Chacha, Chikappa, had parceled his son's hair for Balaji. Is that he's called Balaji because we give the bal and takes Sriji, Lakshmi ji from him. So he makes us Srinivasa and he is becoming Balaji. So these are the first kind of bhaktas we see, Artha, who have problem, and when problem comes, they remember God as a problem-solving mechanism. Here there is in fact, last month I had organized Harikatha of my Guru, Srimati Vishaka Hari. We had a 3-day series in Bangalore in Shankaramat. Some of you had come there. The first day's topic, I had given the English topics. She spoke on that. She gave the Charitram she's speaking. So I just want to give, because the whole talk was in English, Harikatha in English, so I want to give English topics. So the first day's topic was devotion out of distress. Devotion out of distress. Sankata Bandaga Venkataramana. So when we have some problem, it could be the health issues, it could be the financial crisis, it could be the mental afflictions, the stress, or the relationship problem. People pray for these problems to get solved. And these are the Artha Bhaktas, the first category of devotees. Kunti here, an exceptional devotee. Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas in the Mahabharata. She, therefore, we all are praying to the Lord to solve the problem. But Kunti here asks Bhagavan Shri Krishna, who is her own nephew, her own brother's son. She says, let me have more and more problems, my dear. Why? It is only when I have a problem, I think that you are there and I seek to you. When I am in all comfort, I think it is all because of me. But when the problem comes, I think, the problem God has given, why God is testing me like this? Why he's testing me like this? When we are happy, why God is making me happy? We are not thinking of that. So she says that even the thought of you, that you exist and then you are there. I need to ask you something. I need to connect with you. I remember you. The smaranam comes only when I have problem. And therefore, vipatashantu nashvaraha. Let me have problems more and more, because why? I don't have to worry about the problems even, because you are there. You have been solving my problems. But not all of us are Kunti, okay? In her case, the Lord has been so merciful on her that whenever she had problems or her own children had problem, her daughter-in-law had problem, even the case of her great-grandson, who is Parikshit, when he was just in the womb of his mother, Uttara Kumari, Ashwatthama had put the Brahmastra to spoil. In fact, this is where the shloka Kunti asks that let me have more and more problem. It is at that incidence when Uttara Kumari was carrying Parikshit in her womb, the child in the womb, and then Brahmastra has been put, because it was the last santanam of the Pandava Vamsha, the Kuru Vamsha. Santana Bijam Kuru Pandavana. Please protect this bija, the seed of this parampara, Kunti says to Krishna. And he did. He therefore went into the womb even, and he went around the womb day and night protecting, and therefore the child, when was born, was called Vishnu Radha, because he was protected by Vishnu himself. And after the child was born, this child started looking into everyone's face. He is his uncle. Now Srinivas came to see this child. Then looking at this, is this uncle who came in my womb, whom I saw as a child? No, he's Srinivas' uncle. No, he is not that. Is this uncle who protected me in the womb? No, he's Rajesh Rao. He is not this person. So he was doing pariksha of everyone. He is Sachin. She is Rajpriya. So he was doing pariksha of everyone and rejecting, until he found out it is Sri Krishna who protect me in the womb. That's why he got the name even Parikshit and Vishnu Radha. Two names are mentioned in the Bhagavad. Now my point is, though we all look at Bhagavan, the majority of the devotees look at Bhagavan as a problem solving mechanism and go to him to seek solution for their problems, may it be physical, mental, financial, relationship, and or boss, the career oriented, or whatsoever it is, right? Nevertheless, that is also a devotion, that is also bhakti. This artha bhakta, the bhakti what he shows, right, is called kamyartha bhakti. That bhakti is called kamyartha bhakti because there is a kamyartham. Kama here is the desire, the selfishness. Artha is a resource. So out of his selfishness, for his life to be comfortable, he is praying. Whom else will we ask than asking our own father, asking our own mother? Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva. Tvameva vidya dravinam. Dravinam here means resources. Vidya is education. Even for studies, for education, for buddhi. Saraswati Puja or Dakshinamurti, Hayagriva. To whom do we ask? One who is having everything ultimately, right? So here I would add the definition of Bhagavan in Bhakti. It is very important to know Bhagavan. Bhakti is a relationship between the Bhagavan and the Bhakta, right? Bhakti is that which connects Bhagavan and Bhakta. And therefore you need to know who the Bhagavan is. In Bhakti Yoga, the term for divinity, for God, is what is Bhagavan, is what is more used. If you see the scriptures for Bhakti Yoga, you will see the term Bhagavan being used more. In Yoga Shastra, if you see Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the term Ishvara is used more. If you see Jnana Yoga, Vedanta, the Upanishads or Brahma Sutra, the term Brahman is used, not Brahma, Brahman. Right? Therefore, only Aham Brahmasmi. Sarvam Kaluvidam Brahma. So, in Jnana Yoga, to refer the ultimate, the term Brahman is used. In Raja Yoga, it is Ishvara, it is used. Patanjali never speaks about the word Brahman or Paramatman or even Bhagavan. There is no Ramakrishna. What is the term used by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra? Ishvara, Ishvara Pranidhana. Purusha Visheshaha Ishvaraha ityadi aneka riti. Patanjali uses the term Ishvara to indicate that same absolute. But in Bhakti Yoga, therefore, what is the term used most commonly? It is Bhagavan. Now, what is Bhagavan? Bhagam, one who has things in absolute. He has Bhagam Jnanam, Bhagam Aishwaryam, Bhagam Kirti, Bhagam Jnanam, Bhagam Balam, Bhagam Vairagyam. 6 things are in abundance. Whomsoever have limitless resource of these 6 things is called Bhagavan. What are the 6 things? First and foremost, Jnanam or knowledge. That ultimate source of knowledge, knowing that which everything else is known. That is Bhagavan. He should not if you ask something to him, he should not say, tomorrow I will refer and come and say. Then he is not Bhagavan. There are many so-called Bhagavans available in the spiritual market, so-called spiritual market. Can we really call them all as Bhagavan? They themselves call themselves Bhagavan. That is a different thing. But we should identify if they are Bhagavan, then that ultimate source of knowledge should be them. We did call certain people as though they were like Mahatma's incarnation. We call them as Bhagavan, though human being. Though they were born as human being. Like even Krishna, at his time, he was a human being born. He was called Bhagavan Shri Krishna. His Uvacha, Bhagavan Uvacha is Bhagavad Gita. Even in the recent time, Bhagavan Shri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. I definitely, whenever I address Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, I would address him as Bhagavan Shri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Deva. He is Bhagavan to me. To Vivekananda, he was Bhagavan. Not just a guru, he was that Bhagavan because he had that ultimate, by attaining that Godhead, attaining that godliness, he also reached to that state wherein he had abundance of knowledge first. Ramana Maharshi, devotees of Ramana Maharshi call him as Ramana Bhagavan. Right? Bhagavan Baba, today is Thursday, Bhagavan Satya Sai Baba or Bhagavan Sri Shirdi Baba. Because they looked upon him as an embodiment of knowledge, and all these Mahatmas have proved that also. Ramana Maharshi, even with that silence which he maintained, could dispel the darkness of ignorance. Val Brendan came with thousands and hundreds of questions to Ramana Maharshi, but very presence of him, the silence, shattered all those ignorance, the questions which he had, everything were answered. Sometimes we also go with, there are many people who come to me and say, oh, I came with so many questions. I said, you didn't ask me, I didn't, no, we forgot. The moment I saw you out of some fear, I forgot the question. Making someone forget the question is not the greatness. Getting them the answer, even without you speaking, if your questions are answered, then you are Bhagavan. So, Bhagam Jnanam. Samagram Aishwaryam. Aishwarya here doesn't mean he has Aishwarya Roy with him as his girlfriend. Aishwaryam here is kind of, again, this abundant, when something is in abundance, we call that itself as an Aishwaryam. Prosperity, you can call it as. It's not just simply wealth. You have that Purnatva. We remember in Shankaracharya's time, when he went for begging alms to this poor lady who did not have much money to give, but she had the great heart to give the one bright gooseberry, Nellikai, which she had as an arm to this Bala Brahmachari. So she had Aishwaryam. It is not about the wealth, that fulfillment which they have. That is Aishwaryam, which is ultimately in Bhagavan again. Here the same Aishwarya, you can use it to mean his beauty also. The tejas, the resplendence is also ultimate. He is Manmata Manmatakara. When we say Krishna, every god, any form of god whom you like, you see, we consider them to be the most beautiful, resplendent. So, Bhagam Aishwaryam, Bhagam Jnanam, Samagram Aishwaryam, Balam, ultimate strength, right? Which he should have, and not just the physical strength, the mental strength. As we all know, as yoga practitioners, the mental strength is more important. So that is the third thing which makes him a Bhagavan. And fourth, Kirti. Again, not your Kirti, Suresh. Kirti is the glory. Any amount of thing, even when Krishna Avatara's time, his own time, there were people who were defaming him. There was a Poundraka Vasudeva who was claiming to be him, the Krishna, and he was defaming him, Rama. Even now, there are a lot of debates on what Rama did. But still, nothing could put them down. Rama is Rama, Krishna is Rama. Yuyam, Yuyam, Bhayam, Bhayam. And therefore, that Kirti. And then the Jnanam, Aishwaryam, Balam, Kirti, and again, of course, Aishwaryam is the wealth. If you say the richness, then the beauty also, the Saundaryam is a separate criteria. And finally, even though you have all those, you have Vairagyam. When someone has any of these one, he doesn't have Vairagyam. He doesn't have a dispassionate mind. He is so attached. Oh, how beautiful I am, how rich I am, how great I am, how valorous I am, how knowledgeable I am. That ego comes. So without, even though he has all those, he's unattached and dispassionate. Therefore, Samagram Vairagyam. If all the six are there, then you are Bhagavan. Now you can have a cross check, a checklist. And often in the, management and in psychology, Rajeshji and all gives a checklist. Now I give a checklist. Check to yourself if you have any of these. Not any of this, all of this. If one has knowledge very well, then he might not have money. I know many people, right? There are many, many wonderful, intelligent people, even in this group. Though you might not have declared your bank balance, but I know how much of Lakshmi Karam you have. And I know many people. I'm in this place where people walk on golden path. There are places where I go, the walls are all gold plated. One of the hotel here, the toilet is also all in gold. And when I went there, it is not coming. Even for us, that is not coming there. Shit Bhagyam is not there. Toilet is golden toilet. Because for us, gold is Lakshmi. We look at that as a kind of celebration, as something as worshipful. Even they say this toilet is made of gold. I will only touch it and do namaskaram to her. I cannot have the shit Bhagyam there. What to do? But there are people who do that. But they have that richness which is there. You talk to them. Our Kupusami, Madasami, Munusami in Bangalore and in Madras, they are much more knowledgeable than these fellows. So knowledge, Saraswati is there, Lakshmi will not be there. Lakshmi is there because they're mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, Both of them together being is very difficult. And there is somebody who is having so much of richness, he is afraid. He can't defend his own thing, so he has security guards around. So Durga Devi is missing with him. Right? Not all are Nirmala Sitharaman, who could be a defense minister as well as a finance minister. So there is always this problem of if you have one, you don't have the other one. I knew a beautiful girl and I was invited to the marriage. I went there and I couldn't even look at her husband's face. Right? Not that I am so handsome, but somehow I couldn't even look at his face because he was such intolerable form that he had. I couldn't ask her. It was marriage reception which was going on. Then I was talking to some of the other friends. How did she agree? She is so beautiful. How did she has refused, in fact, earlier many proposals from many handsome hunks. How did she accept this fellow? Right? Then they said the whole marriage, for example, it was like something unimaginable. Right? Again, we were all served in the golden bowls and golden spoons and the golden plates and everything. So such thing which happened palace ground in Bangalore, one of the castles in palace ground in Bangalore. So you could see, they said, yeah, she has spent nothing for the marriage. You see, everything which is happening is all that man has spent for the marriage. Not only that, he has such palatial bangla in Sadashiva Nagar. He has so much of this much of business, all those things. In fact, she was this lady got married as a second wife. The first wife died, and she is the second wife. Everything she agreed. Why? Because of the money that he had, richness that he had. That's okay. It is her wish. But what I say, she who was so beautiful, now married this man who didn't have a pleasant face even. Right? Lot of scares on his face. So he had money, but he didn't have that beauty. So if one person who has all those, it could be Bhagavan. That's why we call Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So anyhow, so understanding what Bhagavan is also very important. It is only when you know whom to show this bhakti. Bhakti is not, of course, I said even the other day when I spoke on Independence Day, the Rashtra Bhakti. The Rashtra also, we have bhakti on the Rashtra because we see the divinity in the Rashtra. It is not just this geographical location or the countries also because we see presence of divinity there and therefore Rashtra Bhakti. Now your mother, the Matru Bhakti, is because we understand that Paramatma, that Bhagavan Shri Krishna or Bhagavan Shri Shiva, whomsoever your Ishtadevata has come in this form of your mother. And therefore this Matru Bhakti. That Bhagavan has come in the form of your Pati, therefore this Pati Bhakti. Therefore this Guru Bhakti. Therefore this Aditi Bhakti. So Bhakti comes only when you understand that Bhagavan has taken all these forms. It's not just like that as they are, we are showing this bhakti. It is looking into the divinity in each one of them. Therefore, because Bhagavan is present in all of them, therefore bhakti for them. Everyone deserves a bhakti. Even your dog deserves a bhakti. Right? So everyone deserves a bhakti. But when you see it as a dog, then it is. I told you the other day what happened to Bharata Yogishwara, who looked into a jinke mari, a deer, baby deer. Because he looked into a deer, therefore it became an attachment. It became a selfishness. If he would have looked into the deer also as a manifestation of divinity and showed his love towards that would have elevated him. You understand the difference? So that is what we understand. This Bhagavan is someone who has everything in Samagram. Now coming back to the classification which we are seeing, the first is Artha Bhakta. And second, when his problems are solved, he looks forward for a comfortable living. And that is when he becomes an Artharthi. He is not just satisfied with, okay, my problem is solved. Now, okay, I am happy now. At least I'm comfortable. My problem is solved. How to see that this problem doesn't come back to me? So he need to earn resources to maintain his life. That is when he becomes an Artharthi. So he's worried about his career, job. So we have many job giving gods also around the country. Not only the visa giving god, not only the passport sanctioning player. And then marriage. Once you have a job, you are settled with your job. Then marriage, getting into Grihastha. So we have temples which facilitate marriage. Gods become marriage brokers even. We want them to do that. Matrimony. Not only, I'm not exaggerating, even we see in the Puranic stories, Bhagavan doing that among the Nayanmars, right? I told you about 63 Nayanmars, the Shiva Bhaktas of Tamil Nadu. Sundaramurti Nayanar, who is one of the most important Nayanar there, he didn't get married. And so Shiva comes, recommends his, his stature and gets him married. To that extent, Bhagavan have done. Right? And therefore we pray to him and he would make it to happen also. So all these in the category of the Artharthi. So it's a resource, making your life more meaningful, resourceful. Artham means also meaningful. So your life becomes meaningful only when you have the means to fulfill. See how nice it is. Even in English, all these are the means. We say even the earnings, the money you earn, the resources you earn, we call them all as means, right, in English. How did this word mean came? It came from artha in Sanskrit. So it makes your life meaningful when you have the means to take care of your living better way. And one who seeks this with God, he is an artharthi. And then you lead a comfortable grihastha life. Slowly what happens when you start seeing, that the ups and downs of life, then questions comes to you, why this, very di. Very of whom? Your own wife. So far, whomsoever looked as great goddess for you, great Annapurneshwari when she gives food for you, the great Saundarya Lahari when she beautifully appears to you, right? The great Lakshmi when she earns and gives you the resource for the home, when she educates your children, the Saraswati. But then at times, she becomes Bhadrakali also. So life is not always the bed of roses. The ups and downs of life makes you to question, why am I here? How do I get out of this bondage of the samsara? All those make you to become a jignasu. When Buddha looked into these things of life, what is this? Vyadi, Vruddhapya, Jara, Maranam, poverty. He had never seen all those. When he saw those, Siddhartha, when he saw those, he had questions of how to get rid of all those. So, dukkha nivartihi, sukha prapti. For a jignasu, this is the main thing. Dukkha nivartihi, sukha praptihi. So, he is called a researcher. We can call him as a seeker or a researcher, a jignasu bhakta. He is a seeker. Or out of his curiosity, he goes around. Most of the pilgrimages, in those days, people, after fulfilling the Grihastha Dharma, they go on Tirtha Yatras or they go to ashrams to learn from gurus, jignasu. And eventually, he develops until the first two, Artha, Artharthi, the Bhakti is called Kamyartha Bhakti. As I told, Artha, Artharthi, the two types of devotees who do the devotion is called Kamyartha Bhakti because there is an amount of selfishness involved there. For my living, for my life to be better, even for my kith and kin, for my family, for my, you also pray for everyone. Sarve santo sakinaha, everything is there. But then prayer first is me and my people. I'm praying for my friends or I'm praying for my wife or children because they are connected to me. They are in some way connected to me. They are some way benefiting me. My life is depending on them. So that me and them, that attachment is there. That is why we are praying for them. That is why we are doing whatever we are doing for them. The moment you get to know that they are not good for me, what happens? In those days, people were not this selfish. I don't know if I tell how this modern generation will be able to accept it or not. But it was not that, not only an utilitarian, a consumership viewpoint they never had, even in relationship. How far he is useful to me, how far even for the early days of that usefulness, parasparam, what happened, later stage, they continue to stay together and help each other in one way or other. The moment someone is not able to be any more beneficial to me, he is not fulfilling my expectations. So I cut his relationship and make it with someone who can do this for me. A purely utilitarian mindset, purely consumer mindset with which we are today, like a product, even with the family relationship and all, it is becoming like a more of a product, right? We are not looking into the emotion, what is attached there. So the kamyartha, the selfishness which is making us to do even devotion there, and therefore that bhakti is called kamyartha bhakti. And jignasu, when he comes, he takes into sadhana bhakti, sadhanatmak bhakti, not just as kamyartha, but the sadhana. Even the process would be the same. Even there he did puja, he did bhajan, he did archana, he did namasparana, he went to temple. The process remains the same. But here it is, right? Not for my sake, but for the joy of the bhajan sake I sing. For the joy of the puja sake I do. For the joy of the temple sake, I go to temple not just for seeing what I can get. What is the beauty of the temple which is there? What is the divinity I feel here? In fact, how I can be of useful to this beautiful temple where many people come and take benefit. I don't have to take a benefit from it, but there are many who are coming there, right? They are coming there for some benefit. It's helping them. So how can I be of benefit to them? I can distribute some prasad over there. I can give some water over there. I can keep the temple clean. I can help the puja by taking flowers and all those things. Even the seva becomes a sadhana. Because here you are not having that expectation of what I get out of it than what I can do for that. And therefore it becomes a sadhana bhakti. So kamyartha bhakti, and then the next is sadhana bhakti. And when you grow up further, even this external sadhana becomes something that which is not necessary, because you start seeing that Bhagavan not external to you, that Bhagavan being very much within you. Seeing him as the Antaryami, seeing him to be one within you. So once you see him as someone who is very much not external to you, but who is your Hridaya Kamala Vasa. And not just in your Hridaya, he is there in you, but not only in you, but who is everywhere. It is then when you become a Jnani. That Bhakta is called a Jnani Bhakta. And that Bhakti he does is Prema Bhakti. It is a Bhakti, a devotion without selfishness. Therefore, it is called Prema Bhakti. My Guruji, Dr. Nagendraji, used to give a beautiful systematic gradation, a kind of equation for Bhakti. As I told you the other day, we are all with a bundle of the emotions, the positive and negative emotions, a tug of war happening between both the Vibhishana and the Ravana in us. The Devi Sampath, the good qualities that we have, the positive emotions that we have, and the Asuri Sampath, the negative tendencies that we have, the negative emotions that we have, a tug of war which is happening always between both of those. Understanding that all these are happening because of that selfishness. Yesterday I was trying to show you a beautiful picture. A fish was asking the mother, Amma, why are we always in the water? Why can't we go out and be in the earth? The mother fish says, baby, that is all for the selfish. Water is only for the fish. We are all the fish, so water is for the fish. Earth is for the selfish. I would add rather for the selfie fish. Not just for the selfish, but the selfie-fish. The selfishness is which is very much dominating. So when we understand, it is all happening because of this emotion of love. You are loving your mother because of what? You are expecting something back from her. The love of you, what you have, right? The love on you. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. There is a love that you have towards you, and therefore you're expecting something for this lovable thing in you from that person. Therefore, you love that person. May it be your mother, may it be your sister, may it be your brother, for everyone. Right? So when you understand, it is all happening because of that self-love. So you can convert the selfishness into the love of the self. You understand? When you have a selfishness, when you say it is because of the attachment we have towards the body. Swartha, selfishness is happening because the wrong identification, the viparyaya we have towards that I am this body. So you shift this selfishness to a self-love, which means you understand that my true Swarupa is not the body. I am not this body, but I am this Atma. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavat. That Atma Swarupa is what is my true nature. When you recognize, then this love, what you had so far, the selfish love, which is called the kama, that becomes prema. Kama becomes prema. When you give up this attachment towards your body, the selfishness, and make it selflessness. In fact, the selfless love is the love you have towards your true self, which is your Atma. And then you understand that Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma. That Paramatma who is in my Atma is not only in me, he is everywhere. And once you recognize this omnipresence, then you develop the Sharanagati Bhava. So Kama plus Tyaga, when you give the selfishness is given Tyaga. So Kama plus Tyaga becomes Prema. Prema plus Sharanagati. When you understand his Sarvantaryamitva, Sarvashaktatva, Sarvagyatva, and your Alpagyatva. I am just the wave, whereas he is the ocean. I am just a small fabric, whereas he is the whole cotton. I am just a dust. He is the whole earth. So when you understand this difference between you and him, but same time there is a connection between you and him. Just the connection between the wave and the ocean. The wave and the ocean, are they different? Yeah, different. It is ocean, it is just a wave. Are they same? Yes, they are same. The wave did not come separately from elsewhere. The wave came from the ocean only, and it goes back to the ocean. The water in the ocean in its property is as same as the water in the wave also. They are not different from each other. The property remains the same. One spark of the fire from a big, light of fire or a torch of fire is the same. It has the same power, right? One spark of a fire has the same power. Electricity, whether it came from a huge transformer or even a small power plug, what we have, electricity is the same. Similarly, we understand that, so this Jivatma in me is inseparable from the Paramatma who is omnipresent. At the same time, you understand the super in Bhakti, that is what Jnana stops here, whereas Bhakti, it goes to understand the supremacy of that Paramatma. And therefore, you have the Sharanagati Bhava, the Prabhatti Bhava, which is very important, the surrender, which makes it to become Bhakti. So, Prema plus Sharanagati becomes Bhakti. Kama plus Tyaga is Prema, Prema plus Sharanagati is that Bhakti, that Satvasmin Parama Prema Rupa is that Bhakti. So, when we go to that extent of the Charanari Tattva Bhava, and you are able to see that Bhagavan not only in you, now no more sadhana is required, but the sadhana you did, the sadhana bhakti you did, got matured, evolved into the prema bhakti. When wherever you go, whatever you see, everything you see as the vibhuti of that Lord. Yet vibhuti matsatvam. In the 10th chapter of the Gita, Krishna gives the vibhuti yoga. Vibhuti is a glory. Everywhere, in whatever you see, the glory of the Lord is seen, right? Everything. Even this I see as the glory of the Lord, the technology that you're all seated elsewhere in different places, and we are able to connect through this Zoom and talk to each other, meet each other. This is a glory. So everywhere you can see a Bhakta sees the glory of the Lord, appreciates his presence of the divinity everywhere, then he is called a Jnani Bhakta. Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnani, the 4 types of devotees as spoken by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. And also we see that there are 3 devotion which is spoken here: Kamyartha Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti. Within Prema Bhakti, again, there are different levels which we will see later. But this Prema Bhakti is something where there is no transactional Bhakti. There is no transactional devotion. You are doing it devotion for devotion's sake, love for love's sake, not love for any expectation's sake. When you grow to that extent, then you become a Jnani. Prahlada was a Jnani because he was able to see the Lord everywhere, even in this pillar. Does your Lord exist? Does Vishnu exist in this pillar? Is what Hiranyakashipu asks. He says, yes, drishyate. Hiranyakashipu says, na drishyate. I am not able to see here. Prahlad says, drishyate. I am seeing here. Na drishyate. Right? So when he takes the mace and then hits the pillar, then he is able to see Narsimha. But for Prahlada, Narsimha Avatara is not required. He is seen as that Srimad Narayana as he is present everywhere. In each and everything what we see here, Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Everywhere he is Vishwatman who is present here. So we need to grow in devotion to that extent. Draupadi, when the Vastrapaharana was happening in the primary stage, she had all her efforts to protect herself. Self-defense. She tried her level best in protecting herself. Right? When she realized the human limitation, she understood she need to take the external support, the guidance of Krishna, the blessings of Krishna, the protection, the rakshana from Krishna. At the same time, Krishna, later she asked Krishna, why did you take some time? You could have immediately come and help me. Why did you take some time? Beginning, you called me as Dwaraka Nilaya Chuta. The shloka says, Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Dwaraka Nilaya Chuta. And so I have to come, starting from Dwaraka to come to Delhi, from Gujarat to Delhi. Even though he had a flight of Garuda Vahana, it takes some time. And the next shloka, when you went, Hey Sarvantaryamin Vishwatman Vishwabhavanaha, then I don't have to come from Dwaraka, I can come from your Hridaya, Hridaya Kamala Vasil. I can just manifest from your own heart center. And then when immediately you had the rescue, the support which I could give you in abundance. So this is what we need to understand. The presence of that Bhagavan is not elsewhere in us, but not only in us, he is everywhere. A Jnani is someone who can see his omnipresence. And how to become the Jnani? It is not so easy. Where do we get this Jnana? How much dollars or dirhams do we pay to get this Jnana? It is only possible when we get the Guru Kripa. So Guru's role is very much inevitable in our journey of yoga. Tomorrow we will see more about the role of Guru and Guru Bhakti is what we see tomorrow. So with which we stop for today. A small 1 minute meditation, a contemplation with eyes closed. All that you have heard about devotion today, we understood Bhakti is that supreme emotion of that love, not out of selfishness, the love towards the self, which matured becomes the love towards the universal self. When we give up the attachment towards the body and understand our true nature as the self, the Atma, we grow to see the presence of this Atma not only in us, but as Sarvabhut Atma, as the Paramatma in each and every being that we see. The entire Jagat is nothing but the manifestation of the Jagannatha. Whomsoever we see, whatsoever we see, are all the divine manifestations. So when we look upon the other person with whom we live, with whom we interact, with whom we move ahead in life, remember that all these are the waves of the same ocean. He is the same as I am. She is the same as I am. Let there be no differences. Let's feel the oneness, the one divine spark in each and every being around. We need to move from our devotion of the Kamyartha Bhakti to the Sadhana Bhakti and then to Prema Bhakti. Not doing a transactional devotion, but a transcendental devotion. And this transformation from the transactional level of devotion to transcendental devotion is Bhakti Yoga. Maybe dive deeper into the ocean of Bhakti Yoga more and more. Namaskaram Mudra. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva Tvameva bandhusya saka tvameva Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Anyata sharanam nasti Tvameva sharanam mama Tasmat karunya bhavena Raksha Raksha Janardana Raksha Raksha Janardana Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Gently open your eyes.